Oh, hey, Dino. What's up?
Where have you been? You were supposed to be in the studio 15 minutes ago.
Well, I'm waiting on the makeup people to get here, because,
We're on the CW. We don't have a makeup crew.
What? We have a makeup crew? Oh, no. Guess I'll have to do it myself then. Hello, I'm Kevin Turner, and welcome to the season premiere of Sports and Such. Can you believe it? It's the first minute of our first episode, which means it's time to start campaigning for an Emmy. We here at Sports and Such are doing this for one reason and one reason only, and that's to win an Emmy. So be sure to tweet at Lone Star Emmy and hashtag an Emmy for Sports and Such. Do it on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Do it on LinkedIn. I have no idea how any of this works, but I do know the haters and losers, of which there are many, don't want us to win an Emmy. With that being said, let's get to this week's top stories. NFL season is here, and that means unintentionally finding yourself watching 60 Minutes all of a sudden. As we know, the Cowboys lost to the Buccaneers on opening night, but the real winner was Tom Brady's Botox. It's kind of keeping it together. A report says that with football returning, chicken wing sales increased last week. Other things that increased, my blood pressure every time Greg Zuerlein took the field. I miss you, Dan Bailey. So obviously, we know they lost in the season opener to the champs, but we don't need to dwell on the past. Instead, we should look forward to the Los Angeles Chargers in a game that will absolutely be a home game for the Cowboys, even if it's a 3-hour flight away. How do I know this? Because there aren't any Chargers fans. They don't exist. Think about it. When have you ever met a Chargers fan? You haven't. And I know from experience. Our head writer, Jesse, lives in LA, so let's just ask him. Hey, Jesse, you live in LA. Have you ever seen a Chargers fan?
No.
See? I told you. We proved it. There are no Chargers fans. Now, I know I'm ready for this week's game, but not as much as Magic Johnson, who tweeted that he's excited about the matchup between Joey Bosa and Jalen Smith. So who wants to tell him that they both play defense and that Jalen doesn't really get to play much anymore? Who wants to tell Magic Johnson? The Cowboys don't play the Chargers very often, but one thing I learned is that Chargers are the bigger plates that go underneath the smaller plates at weddings. So I think the Cowboys have a real shot at finishing on top this week. Dallas is going to be without wide receiver Michael Gallup, who is out 3 to 5 weeks with a calf strain. When I think of a calf strain, I can only picture the popular TV show Yellowstone, because that's a program that will go out of its way to show you a cow giving birth to a calf. Most TV dramas are going to give you the basic tropes: crime, betrayal, relationship conflict. Yellowstone's like, hey, let's give the people what they want. Here's a cow giving birth. And speaking of Yellowstone, a lot of people are excited as the prequel starring Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, and Sam Elliott is filming in Fort Worth. As for me, I don't share that same enthusiasm, because if they're filming in Texas, does that make them eligible for a Lone Star Emmy? I didn't take all this time to do this show just to lose to the character actor with the great mustache. Let's set the record straight right now. Lone Star Emmy for Sports and Such or bust. Show the thing. I did think it was weird that Ed Sheeran was the NFL's choice for the kickoff artist for the season opener. For those who don't know, this is Ed Sheeran. Sorry. This is Ed Sheeran. Oh, my bad. Sorry again. This is actually Ed Sheeran here. No, that's a stock photo of fish and chips and a beer sitting on a barrel. I think we're getting further away from it. This is the real Ed Sheeran. Oh yeah, now I'm ready for some football. But the NFL didn't just stop at Ed Sheeran's performance. They released a line of Ed Sheeran NFL merch. This is real. That's a real hat you can buy for $30. I'm sure we'll see Rob Lowe wearing it at some sort of singing competition. Then for $50, you can buy this NFL shirt. And if that wasn't enough, you can buy a 2021 Ed Sheeran Kickoff Starter Jacket for $250. So for a grand total of about $320 before taxes, you can walk around town letting everyone know you've got a lot of credit card debt. In college football news, the Big 12 is planning to add BYU, Central Florida, Cincinnati, and Houston to the conference, and the worst reboot idea since Roseanne. I'm sorry, I just thought about the Ed Sheeran jacket again. Who is this for? I don't even hate Ed Sheeran. I don't understand. Now, by now, you've probably seen this crazy video of fans at a University of Miami game catching this dangling cat with an American flag. You know, I'm happy for the cat, but I also felt kind of bad for him. Can you imagine landing in a group of Miami frat bros? I think I would rather just hit the ground. You know, we've been so divided as a country lately, but all it took was college football and a wannabe circus cat to bring us all back together. USA! 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 You know, that video really gives you a new meowing of life, doesn't it? I mean, that cat was pretty fortunate. But for now, I think we should take a second and pause and recognize our sponsors real quick. Whether you're watching online or on Basic Kibble, it's all because of our sponsors. And you might be rolling your eyes, but I'm feeling pretty good about the timing to do it here in the middle of Top Stories. All right, I'm literally done kidding around. Let's focus on the next story before any of you boycott the show. And a tough week for the Longhorns after they lost to Arkansas. It only took Texas 2 weeks to drop out of the top 25 and to change quarterbacks, but Coach Sark has it all under control. I hear that he threatened the team with a Matthew McConaughey pep talk if they don't rebound next week. All right, all right, all right. I didn't drive my Lincoln all the way up here for nothing. Let's beat Rice this week. Otherwise, Daddy Mac ain't going to run for governor in 22. Hook 'em on three. 1, 2, 3. Hook 'em. Just keep living. Luka Doncic and the 2K Foundation recently refurbished 2 Slovenian basketball courts where Luka used to play growing up. And in related news, Jason Kidd is working with investors to rebuild the old Wet n Wild off Garland Road. No word yet on if the Bubba Tub will return. A report last week claims Jaguars head coach Urban Meyer has had repeated issues with his temper. A source said, quote, he becomes unhinged way too easily and he doesn't know how to handle losing. Come on, Herb. Who'd you think you were signing up to coach, buddy? Did you not Google them first? I mean, Urban, champ, this one's on you. In fashion news, the Met Gala took place last week in New York City. I was thrilled to be invited, but apparently the rest of the crew here at Sports and Such are furious over who I chose as my +1. And we also want to take a few minutes to speak to one very special group of viewers, the people on the Lone Star Emmy Selection Committee. Look, I know I'm new here, but I talk the talk and I walk the dog. I plan on naming my firstborn son Lone Star Timmy. I currently drive a Dodge truck with a Lone Star Hemi, and I trademarked this little dance right here, the Lone Star Shimmy. So just know that we're thirsty for a Lone Star Emmy, and we're going to continue rolling out lazy rhymes until we get one, or until we get canceled, or until we run out of things that rhyme with Emmy. That wraps up this week's top stories. Coming up, Dina sits down with our football friend Brian Bratis. Reggie takes a field trip to the Fort Worth Stockyards, and a visit from 2 former Dallas Cowboys. That's next on Sports and Such.
You know, you were the very first person that I met.
That's
in
right.
my very first internship in the business.
What I remember about that was that you were working at ESPN at the time. I said, listen, if you're going to learn this, I did you the locker room stuff, which was really kind of like for a female to go into a professional team's locker room could be really, really intimidating. And I think you were like 19 years old at the time.
I was, yeah.
And you handled that so well.
But the highlight of that internship for me
watching
was
tape.
Watching tape.
I was really fortunate because of my relationship and working with the Cowboys and those guys and Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones. Even when I moved on, they still allowed me to get the tape. There would be guys that would sit in there and they would sit there for 2 minutes. And then they're like, okay, well, I'm done. This is boring.
No, you
But
don't, you don't get the art of the tape in 2 minutes. You gotta sit there. I loved seeing how you viewed the game because I thought I knew football, but when I got in there and I saw the way that you broke plays down, look at this player over here, what he does there and where he goes, that could have been a TV show for me.
The first time I showed up in Green Bay, it was 0 degrees, and I remember landing and it's like this tiny little airport.
And you had lived in Dallas all
I've been in the South all my life. We got off the plane, the doors, I knew it was cold, the doors opened, and as soon as I walked outside, it hit me, and I went, what the hell am I doing here? Started in 1992. We weren't a very good team in Green Bay at the time. We traded for Brett Favre. We got Reggie White. I mean, we made some really good, bold moves. We started drafting better. We were chasing the Dallas Cowboys for a long time. The Cowboys were on that run where 92, 93, 94, 95, I mean, they had some good teams. So we were always chasing them.
That's right.
Fortunately for us, the Cowboys had a really rough 1995. They got in the playoffs. They got all the way to the divisional game against Carolina. Got beat in Carolina. And that means Carolina had to come to Green Bay to play the NFC Championship game. And we knew right then and there's no way that Carolina was going to beat us. That's the most incredible feeling you can ever imagine. When they hand you that Lombardi trophy and you're like looking at it and you're like, wow, everything that I wanted to do in sports, everything that I dreamed about, and it worked out. Thank you very much.
Were there any fundamental differences
Oh my gosh.
in your time with Green Bay versus your time with the Cowboys that maybe one team got a Super Bowl and the other did not?
We were awful. Everything that I learned in Green Bay, we didn't do in Dallas.
Like
And
what?
the way we set the board for the draft, the way we had our meetings talking about the players, but there was too many outside influences that hurt us. Instead of trusting the people in our group, we trusted people outside our group. But fundamentally, it was everything that I'm like, when I look back at it, I'm like, this was wrong, this was wrong, this, and it's things that they have since corrected.
Okay, good. What are your predictions for the Cowboys this year?
I've watched the majority of their practices. I've done their games on the radio. This team is only going to be as good as really their secondary is. The offense is outstanding. The quarterback, the running back is committed. The offensive line, I worry about the right tackle because now he's got the same issues that the left tackle had with the stingers that he had to get surgery on. How that group plays out will be interesting. The wide receivers are outstanding. The offense overall is really, really good. The problem I have is I don't think their corners are good enough. I don't think Anthony Brown is good enough right now. I don't think Jordan Lewis is good enough right now. If teams find ways to block the Dallas front, defensive line, they can get plays on the secondary. And will that be too much for the Dallas offense to have to overcome?
Brian, it was so good.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for talking to me. It was so great to catch up.
Great to catch up with you.
Yep.
Appreciate that for sure.
What's happening, y'all? Reginald Atatula here for another edition of Streets and Such, this time from Fort Worth, Texas, at the Stockyards, baby. My very first time. I'm really excited. Except I don't know why I'm here. So me, you, and all these fine people, we're going to find out together. Let's do it. So seeing as we're at the Stockyards, is there like a market out here? What's the best way you think to invest in like volatile markets?
What kind of volatile market? Like commodity exchanges or?
Sure.
Well, here in Texas, I guess they do more commodities, meat and bacon and.
Wait, I can invest in bacon? Would you say that you're bullish on Bitcoin?
No.
JD, do you have any advice for stock markets?
JD, look. JD?
Oh, okay. What did you do when you heard that Sports and Such was going to be on TV?
I don't know. I what do you mean? Can you repeat the question again?
What did you guys think when you heard that Sports and Such was going to be on TV?
We were surprised.
What did you do when you found out that Sports and Such was going to be on TV?
I don't really watch too much TV.
Well, I wouldn't know what Sports and Such was anyway.
You've never heard of Sports and Such?
No, I have not. No.
Do you think that Sports and Such is a good name for a TV show?
Yeah, I like that. Sports and such. It would intrigue me because I want to know about the such part.
Well, now, let me tell you, you're the such now.
Oh, okay. I can talk about such and such.
Okay, give me your best such. You got like 30 seconds. What's your best such?
Ooh, best such. My aunt just turned 90. You know how many seconds that is?
I don't. Do you?
Yeah,
Okay, how many seconds is that?
2.9 billion.
How long do you think you can last on a mechanical bull?
Maybe 20 seconds
20 seconds?
at a slow speed.
Okay, see, that's fair. How long do you think I could last on a mechanical bull?
Probably at least 30 seconds.
Wow. So you know I had to go prove my boy right. Not nervous at all. No, sir. 30 whole seconds. No sweat. Yeah, I just whooped that bull's ass. Live from the stockyards, Reginald Atatula, where apparently people kind of know about stocks, even though there's not a stock market out here. Really disappointed, but regardless, Reginald Atatula, Streets and Such.
Oh, yes, it's now time for the fun part of the show. Yes, the adrenaline is rushing for the Sports and Such game show. And I have two guys, formerly of the Dallas Cowboys. Barry Church and Travis Frederick are here, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we will start out with the 1-point question. And I'll start with you, Barry, and let you go first here. For 1 point, what year was the first official state fair of Texas?
Oh, out the box like that, huh? Okay. I'm going to say the first official year for the State Fair of Texas, 1925?
It's lower than 1925.
All right, well, it must then be 1897.
It's lower than 1897.
Whoa. Well, we're talking way back. Okay, if it's lower than 1897, I'm willing to put all my money that it's 1875.
It's higher than 1875.
Oh, if that's the case, it must be 1889.
Lower than 1889.
Oh, you know what? I did have a cousin back then that, he was a part of that fair, and he did tell me the other day that it was 1887.
Lower than 1887.
Well, it's really unfortunate that had to have happened, but it must be 1885 then.
It's higher than 1885.
Oh, no!
Looks like that point's coming home to Mr. Church. We're talking about 1886, I believe.
That's correct. The 1-pointer goes to Barry.
Wow.
2-point question coming up. Travis, no worries. You're going to go first this time. You check 2 points back. Barry leads 1-0. The trivia question is, how old is former Price is Right host Bob Barker?
Oh, Bob. Bob is now 96 years old. He celebrated his birthday the other day.
He's higher than 96.
No, we're talking about Bob Barker, the same guy that put hands on Adam Sandler and Happy Gilmore. Talking about my boy Bob, huh? Okay. Yeah, I would have to say he's got to be older than 96. So I'm going to say he's around 98.
Lower than 98.
Oh.
I was mistaken. I thought his birthday was it just happened last year. It's 97 years old.
That's correct. 2 points for Travis.
Yes.
We go to the final question for the championship belt, the 3-point question. On the planet Uranus, how many years does summer last?
Man, I'm going to say summer lasts. It does not last a year because they don't have a summer in Uranus. Is that correct?
No, it's not. So it's higher than 0.
Are we talking Earth years? How many?
Yeah, but the planets have the same years, Travis. Like,
that's not true. It takes it longer to get around the sun.
Oh.
I'm gonna go with 1/4 year then, if they all have the same year.
Oh no, it's a whole number. It's higher than a quarter year.
Okay, all right.
Uranus summertime lasts about, I'm gonna say, 2 years.
It's higher than 2.
Ah!
I'm gonna go with let's see, distance. I'm gonna go with 15,000 years.
Okay, it's lower than 15,000 years.
All right.
For $300, I will take 10 years.
Higher than 10 years?
23 years.
Lower than 23 years?
Okay,
Right,
okay.
now we got a good
All
bound on there.
Now we got a good
15,000
balance.
was way off.
Just a tad bit. I'm gonna say Uranus. Uranus. You know, I had it confused with Pluto and all that other stuff, Jupiter. So I'm gonna say it lasts about a good 17 years.
Higher than 17 years?
Yeah, it's 21 years, Barry. It's 21.
Oh, this is true.
That is true. It's correct.
Oh,
Yes!
21 years of summertime on Uranus.
I see a lot of sunburn there. Seems like a problem.
Travis, you're the winner, but it felt like that was just good teamwork by both of you. Really going, back and forth. I mean, really, that's the great thing about
chemistry. The chemistry is never gone.
Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You guys have been really good to me over the years, working my way up the media food chain. You guys have always been two easy guys to talk to, of course. But more than that, I consider you both friends, and I love you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, KT. You're the man.
I got that
keep
love
rising
for you
up
as
that
well.
food chain.
That's it. Keep climbing up, baby.
Thanks, guys. We'll do a rematch in season 2.
Sounds great.
Appreciate it.
All right, that does it for this week's edition of Sports and Such. And considering this is our first episode, we weren't planning on doing something like this, but we lost a comedy hero of ours this week with the passing of Norm Macdonald at the age of 61. When Dina and I first discussed the idea of making this show, it was largely because of our shared comedy influences. And one of the people at the top of that list is Norm Macdonald, because he made us laugh a lot. And to a certain extent, Norm Macdonald helped inspire the creation of Sports and Such. He was the best to ever sit behind the update desk with his intrepid style, his distinctive delivery, and his unmatched ability to nail the punchline. He was a genius. Rest in peace, Norm. We're going to miss you, man. Screw you, cancer. We're back with another episode of Sports and Such next week. I'm Kevin Turner, and I love you.